You are listening to Viewpoints from PlaceCloud. Cultural researchers tell stories of places from around the world. For the full multimedia experience and to support the creators you enjoy, visit placecloud.io.
Repent. The end is extremely effing nigh. Those are the words scrawled on the entrance to St. Anne's Church in the 2001 horror 28 Days Later. At this point in the film, a young bike courier, Jim, played by Cillian Murphy, has awoken from a coma to find London deserted. He walks through the empty streets, shouting and echoing hello to the silent city. For nearly 8 minutes of the film, Jim does not come across another soul in London. Moving from St. Thomas's Hospital past Westminster, St. Paul's Cathedral, and the city, he makes his way here to St. Anne's Church. Inside, the church is dark, with a yellowing light cast on the wall to read the words of despair. Jim goes up the stairs to look at the pews below, heaped with rotting corpses. It isn't clear if these bodies were dumped here as a mass grave, if they gathered for a mutual suicide, or if this is the site of some horrible massacre. Either way, it was the end of the world as they knew it. As Jim looks down on the dead bodies filling the nave, he makes a noise that brings to life the few rage-infected cannibals amid the dead bodies. The church's priest, also one of the infected, staggers towards Jim, who's now confused and terrified. He knocks the priest down with a bag of cans and races from the church, the infected close behind him. The church scene is our first glimpse of the infected and of the horror of the rage virus. The infected are barely alive, moving only to feed and seeming to decay and wrenching their bodies in impossible ways to attack survivors. Their flesh and odd movement is why many people, though never director Danny Boyle, have called this a zombie movie. Placing the moment we first see the infected in a church is a very clever move by Boyle. The church, with its piles of dead and scrawled warning on the wall, suggests a complete loss of hope by everyone who's inside. And ironically, this is a film all about hope. Jim is the real holder of the hope, if you will, for the film. And it's not just us viewers, but fellow survivor Selena, played by Naomi Harris, who refuses to believe there's anything to live for. Later in the film, Jim and Selena discuss the world situation, and she comments that living isn't an option anymore. The best they can do is just survive. Jim, ever optimistic, insists that they can and must do more. He holds on to hope in a way that no one in St. Anne's Church did. And, maybe as a result, he manages to slowly change Selena's mind. The location of St. Anne's Church is also recognizable to fans of another London horror story, The Limehouse Golem. It was made into a horror film in 2016 starring Bill Nighy, but the book, Dan Leno and the Limehouse Golem, was written by Peter Ackroyd in 1994. Set here in Limehouse, a woman, Elizabeth Cree, is accused of brutally murdering her husband. However, a detective on the case believes the murder fits with the MO of a serial killer known as the Limehouse Golem. St. Anne's Church appears in the book because of its occult links. The church was built by Nicholas Hawksmoor, who is thought to have been a Mason and built his churches in specific locations in order to harness the mythical powers of the City of London. This ties into the larger story of the Limehouse Golem, and I won't ruin it for you, but the power of the church and the symbolism of it oddly chimes with the end-of-the-world message that appears in 28 Days Later. I'd say you'd have to watch them both, and let me know if you find the connection too.